This right here is the home portal page for end users for Office 365, the web portal page, portal.microsoftonline.com. And this is what they will see when they go to that and they log in. They'll get direct access into their Outlook inbox or their Outlook calendar, a quick link into a SharePoint team site that I'll talk about momentarily. One thing you'll know, too, is that if they are an administrator within the area, they'll also see an administrator link. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the administrative aspect, but just know that it's just one ID and password for all of your users. If they're administrators, they'll see this link. They'll be able to go in and take care of administrative functions. That end users will just see the three links to the left as they log into the infrastructure. So, of course, I can go into Outlook within Internet Explorer and view my email that way. But as Todd mentioned earlier, we do support other browsers. So I'm going to bring up a few other third-party browsers here. And you'll see that the same look and feel, the same experience for your end users can be had using Firefox, can be had using Chrome, as well as Safari on the Macintosh platform. So all of those different platforms, they get the same look and feel, the same experience as they would using Internet Explorer. We've become much more browser agnostic, understand that many people are using other browsers, and we want to support them fully. So you get the same inbox access. You even get access into that cloud archive that I was talking about earlier. Right-click functionality. I mean, that surprises a lot of people. They can go into the browser and right-click on an email and get a lot of the same options that they get within the Outlook desktop client. That's very powerful in that, from a training point of view, is users can be trained in one place and have pretty much the same behavior when they're in the web-based client. Calendar, same type of thing, full access into your calendar. You can get access into colleagues' calendars, view those calendars side by side for scheduling purposes. So a lot of the same functionality flows between the two. Another item I want to definitely speak to is phones, mobile devices. Of course, any device that has the active sync technology on it is fully supported within this infrastructure. So Windows Phone 7, as well as the previous versions of Windows Mobile 6.x, but that also includes iPhones, iPads, Palm Pres, Android devices. Some of the Nokia devices have it. More and more devices are actually coming out with that technology, and with those phones, they get access into their mailbox, and based on the phone platform and how they have it set up, generally they get access into calendaring, the GAL, the task, all those things within their Exchange Online environment on the phone devices. Probably important to note with Windows Phone 7, it actually adds even more functionality in that there's an Office Hub on the Windows Phone 7 devices, if you haven't seen that, and it'll actually allow you to link directly into the SharePoint Online infrastructure. And so this screen on the right is showing a phone, showing that screen from a SharePoint Online infrastructure where I can get a list of all the files, documents. I can open up a PowerPoint, open up a Word document, do basic editing on it, or just give approvals if need be. So you get access into that infrastructure natively on the phone with a client on that phone. Last item I'm going to talk about a little bit here is the SharePoint infrastructure. SharePoint I can easily spend hours talking to if need be because it is a pretty all-encompassing solution. The nice thing about this is, as Todd said, SharePoint is a product that we've had for some time. It's been a very well-received product. But we do know also in the SMB space especially, many folks may not have implemented a SharePoint infrastructure just due to the resources required, hardware, operating system management and updates and all of that. What SharePoint Online brings to the table is that technology, but in a way that you do not have to manage that infrastructure. That is all, again, done within our data centers, but you get full access to that technology. So you're basically given a blank slate, really. There are many templates that you can use in order to get started. For instance, if I wanted to go in and create a new site off of this site, it'll bring up this dialog box that'll show you a few examples even of sites that you can create. So I can create a team site, a basic meeting workspace that many people like to use, a blog within your infrastructure, a work site, a contacts database, all of these types of things, and there's actually many more. If I go to Browse All, you'll see there's quite a few templates. So it's easy to get started quickly within this infrastructure. Do note, though, that since it is really a platform that you can use, it's very extensible. There's lots of different things you can do with it, even in the terms of customization, and that's where Jay and his team at Enligo can definitely assist with. So I can tell you right now that if you have any questions or have any processes that you think might work into this type of solution, don't hesitate to work with Jay and his team to find out more about your workflow and how it could be integrated into the SharePoint environment. So some of the things you can do in SharePoint, some of the definitely powerful functions is the idea of document sharing. So document sharing, and this probably looks pretty much like a list of documents on a file share to you, but first and foremost, this is now in a browser. And it's available to people wherever they are, not necessarily inside your network. So I talked earlier about not needing a VPN to access your email. You don't need a VPN to access files that are within a document store within the SharePoint environment either. But, I mean, it's still, I mean, it looks like a basic listery of directories and files, but there are things you can do that are above and beyond what you can do with a generic file share on a server. I can, of course, edit it and view it in the browser using the Office web apps. I can edit it in Excel natively. But being able to check in and check out and even view and maintain a running version history of the files are things that you definitely can't do with a generic file share. So you look at this, and I could see all these different versions of the files, and perhaps I want to go ahead and restore or just even take a quick look at a previous version of the file. And something else you'll note here is that presence information, by the way, is flowing within the SharePoint Online infrastructure. Jerry just was away and came back, and you saw that his icon changed. And the nice thing about that is I can put my cursor over here, look at his metadata, and then even kick off a quick instant messaging with Jerry right from within the SharePoint Online infrastructure. Like, hey there. And he can quickly come back. And these two people can be anywhere. They could be next to each other like we do here every day at Microsoft. They could be across the country or across the world from each other. So, I mean, so the version history combined with the link online, you'll see how all these things work very well together when you start really talking about collaborating. A couple other points on a document library within SharePoint. You're not limited to just viewing them within this infrastructure. Of course, you can. Many customers have users that they prefer to maybe ease them into this type of infrastructure, and one way that they can access the same infrastructure is via Windows Explorer, File Explorer. So I can see I have all of these same files and directories, but now it's within Windows Explorer, which is more familiar to the user. And you can even map this drive so it's a map drive for all of your users, or drag and drop the icon on the desktop for a shortcut onto your desktop that gets created quickly and easily. So, I mean, you could see from a usability point of view, now these things are stored in the cloud within our data centers, but accessible in a way that users may be more familiar with. Now, another way to access the files, and one that I like to utilize and show, and I use it even internally here at Microsoft, is actually viewing them in Outlook. So that little link I just did will bring up Outlook, and by the way, you only have to do that once for your user. You don't have to do it every time. But what it does is it creates a local copy of that directory structure on your desktop in Outlook, accessible in Outlook, two-way synchronized. So you'll see here it creates a PST. It's not taking up room in your mailbox. It's a separate PST of all that directory and all the other subdirectories, a two-way synchronization. So if the user's offline, this is still giving access to those documents for that user in an offline mode. So that's definitely important to note that you can get offline access using this infrastructure. You can also get offline access using the SharePoint Workspaces technology, which is part of Office Professional Plus. So if I click Sync to SharePoint Workspace, it will do the same type of thing using SharePoint Workspaces. So there is ways to get access to these files offline, so if you're not on the Internet, you'll still have access to the most current versions of the document. Now let's start talking a little bit more about the Word, or not Word specifically, but the Office web apps. So I've actually opened up this document. This is an Excel document showing in the browser in the web app. So the nice thing about this, first and foremost, is that you are getting real-time access to this document within a browser from wherever you are. I can then click Edit in browser and even go into edit mode, and you'll see you get familiar ribbons within the web app. Now, you're not going to get everything that you can do in Excel by any means, but most of the basic functionality that people use every day is available in the web app. Of course, if you need to do something that's more intense, you need to do it in Excel, you just click the button here to open it in Excel. But in Office web app, one thing you'll note is that there's co-authoring functionality that gets enabled. So I could be editing this document. One of the other users could be editing it at any time. If I spell it right, I probably didn't. And you'll see right here that there's 3 people editing this document. And real time, you'll see that it popped up there on the screen because one of the other people actually made that change. So multiple people can be editing the document at one time. That's the co-authoring functionality exposed using Office web apps in concert with SharePoint Online. Also note that some of the co-authoring functionality can expand even into the desktop client. So I've opened up a Word document from that same shared document list, but in Word itself in the desktop client. Again, co-authoring functionality is exposed here. You can see that there are 3 people editing this document right now. I can see the presence information in Word from those people. I click on the people's name, I can get all of the metadata, so I can know a little bit more about it, the phone number, and then, of course, kick off an instant messaging conversation. If I go into the backstage here, you'll see that this file is coming from that SharePoint site. It's not on a local drive. It's coming from the SharePoint site. It'll tell me who's currently editing it. I can actually click this and maybe turn this whole, and it's a messaging conversation between the 3 of us quickly and easily right from Word. It'll also tell me when document updates are available. So in this case, I can see that Jerry's made some changes to the document. If I just click refresh, it'll actually go out to the server, download the updates to the document, and it'll even highlight what changes have been made to the document by that person, so I can know exactly what's been edited. And if I approve it, I can just go ahead and continue working. If I wanted to change it to something else, I can highlight it, changing back and forth. And so if I use this co-authoring in concert with a link and do voice, all those different things working together will help make the entire user base obviously could be potentially much more efficient in their workflow and what they're doing from a day-to-day basis. Now, like I talked about, I mean, the SharePoint infrastructure, this is really a basic template that I created here, but there are things that you can do with it to really customize the look and feel of it. This right here is a quick screenshot of a SharePoint site that had some customization done to it, so it doesn't have to look like a default SharePoint site. There's definitely ways of customizing it, of using the different parts of it in different ways, having links to workflows, using info path forms. All of that is possible within the SharePoint infrastructure. Again, that's definitely something I suggest you work in concert within LIGO, and they can definitely help design the right infrastructure for what you're going to need and how you want to use it.